dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and all the participants of today's National Conference on Biodiversity and Climate Change. Good evening, all of you. It's a great occasion. For the last 1.5 decades, Council for Green Revolution is putting its efforts as far as environment is concerned in many ways. Particularly this aspect of biodiversity is one of the important aspects as far as climate and climate change is concerned. Both these terms of biodiversity and climate change interconnected terms which are causing a lot of apprehensions among the human race on the earth. Unlike earlier, the word of climate change is not confined to certain sections like environmentalists, scientists, media, or the advocates who are promoting and fighting for the cause of the earth and environment. Now become quite common, touching every human being in its adverse impact. Every day we are witnessing erratic rains and different climatic conditions in all the seasons spread over in the year, how it is causing damage for the better living of human. That seriousness slowly coming into the corridors of every aspect of human life, including educational institutions. Unfortunately, just penultimate session, 𝗙𝗫𝗀𝗏 garu and where Sudhaji was telling that even amongst the students by teachers, the importance and the consequences of the changing scenario worldwide is not adequately attended and addressed by the education department also. If we meticulously look into, I hope that the technical sessions previously, before the concluding session, 2-3 technical sessions might have addressed many internal issues and in-depth aspects of this both biodiversity by climate change. But I would like to talk in the generalized way rather than technical. How this subject is important to everybody, need not be those to the students and teachers. It's concerned with everyone. Combating this problem at all levels will definitely give some relief to the humanity on the planet Earth. Otherwise, if we see simply looks towards the governments, we may not get solutions for this big problem. You know that India, while revealing its policy and its approach towards to the serious issue like climate change in Glasgow, where the COP summit was taking place, revealed certain things which were never discussed in this country. A biggest democracy on the earth, with having 140 crores of people, 140 crores of people, and there are many established practices in the democratic functioning of a government, but nowhere it was discussed, and even amongst the scientific community of the country was unaware of the policy and approach government of India revealed in the Glasgow. If this is the prevailing scenario, just simply looking towards to the governments and expecting something may not give solutions to this problem. Then what is the remedy? If you think, remedy is within us. We must think in a broader perspective that this sort of issues like climate change, which is adversely impacting on everything including biodiversity. Biodiversity is such a huge wording which encompasses, and its canvas is very wide, covering many things like every plant on the earth, every animal, every microorganisms, and every living and non-living creatures also of this earth covers under the biodiversity. We are living in midst of many diversities: linguistic diversity, cultural diversity, behavioral diversity. In this, the biodiversity is the vast world where the impact of climate change is so very serious, and we are not taking care of certain things, but its consequences, far-reaching consequences, will lead to a very dangerous situation in the near future. But this situation, what we are facing today, was not even anticipated by the scientists 10 years back, 5 years back. In the Paris Agreement, they were decided to stop the increase of temperature at 2 degrees. But later stage they realized that the problem is heavy, and even 2 degrees centigrade, limiting to the 2 degrees is also dangerous. So they altered that to 1.5 degrees. Every increase of degree temperature leads to a risk of extinction of species. That is the big problem today. Professor, our Dr. తులసి రావు garu, Dr. నరసింహ రెడ్డి garu, and all the subject experts might have explained you the many in-depth aspects of this. But I would like to say in general way that we, the being individuals, should have multi-pronged approach to this issue, working within our capacity at individual level, institutional level, community level, and country level. You may ask that country level how we can work as individuals. Yes, country is a repository. Even in democracy, how good and how beautiful democracy might be, but it won't allow the 140 crore people to come together and take a decision. That's why in our participatory democracy, by ours is the repository democracy. That's why we are sending our representatives to take on behalf of us. We are sending 119 MLAs to the assembly, and we are sending 17 Lok Sabha members to the Lok Sabha to take decisions on behalf of us. But are they really taking decisions by taking the aspects which are positively and negatively impacting us? This is the issue before us. For selecting such suitable representatives and genuine political parties which will address the public issues, opting such governments and opting such public representatives also within our capacity. That's why I'm appealing to you at individual level, at institutional level, communities also will do lot of things. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Reddy was mentioning that how small things can bring lot change in this aspect, especially unlike other subjects, but this particular climate, environment, these are all, because if you simply looks into the topic and with conscious, if you apply mind and looks into that, why this situation emerged? Because human activities, even before human activity, the nature is such a beautiful thing, internal balance was there. But once the human activity enhanced, the every damage is taking place. The destruction of, as Rousseau, the philosopher of French, says that when he was telling that on the name of development we are doing destruction, for that one enthusiastic journalist put a question to Rousseau that if that is the situation, If you say that our development is not genuine development, on the name of development, if it is a destruction, what is the solution? That's a question by the journalist. An immediate reply without hesitating a minute, few seconds, Rousseau's reply was that the solution is going back to the nature. Can't we live in symbiosis with nature? But thousands and lakhs of years, human life was in symbiosis with nature. But when, for his self, for his facilitation, for his comforts, when humans started destructing the nature and moving against the nature, these are all happening. That's why everybody should apply their mind. The beauty of these two words, just I was sitting there and looking towards both the words, biodiversity and climate change. How beautifully interrelated. You see that if biodiversity is protected, we can stop the damage and the adverse impact of climate change. But if climate change adverse impact is increasing, it will kill the biodiversity. Being the learned people, being the intellectual creature on the earth, when compared with all living creatures, man is buddhijeevi and antar. Buddhijeevi, buddhi leni jeevi. That's a simple question. I never got a suitable answer by anybody. Buddhijeevi, buddhi leni jeevi. Buddhijeevi, which is under his own control, where he is doing the damage. You compare with any living creature on this earth who is doing lot damage to the nature, none other than man. None other than man. Sorry if I sounds any gender discrimination, man includes women. So that's the particular human being is not thinking that way he can address the issue. He can solve the problem. So, simple two things. If you deeply analyze that without going much technicalities like me, if you simply broadly analyze this, why this pollution, why this global warming, why this climate change? Because of two factors. One is burning fuels, where the greenhouse gas is coming into and temperature is raising. That global warming is leading to all these consequences. You can stop, you can reduce the use of fossil fuels, you have alternates there, going for the clean energy. And second thing is land use. Our Narsana used to say repeatedly to these governments as the policy analyst, but no governments listen to him. That's the land use policy. So we are using, abusing, misusing and doing lot worse things as far as land is concerned. That's why these are all things happening. If we consider that within his purview, within his limit, within his control, certain things, 1, 2, 3, these things this man is not doing. That's why I am getting that doubt. And culturally we are not, and emotionally we are not bonded to this particular aspect. Then if we start educating people and connecting them to the issue, severity and its seriousness and the ultimate consequences of this issue to every level of people, I hope that they will emotionally, they will develop a bond towards the earth and protection of earth and whatnot. So I remember a small poem of Potana in Bhagavatam. I hope that most of the audience will follow Telugu well. కృష్ణుడు ఉజ్జయినిలో చదువుకోవడానికి సాందీపుని దగ్గరికి వెళ్తాడు గురువు. అక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చేసి రేపల్లెలో ఉంటాడు. కంస వధ సమయంలో he and Balarama moves to మధుర. మధురలో వాళ్ళకు ఒక మిత్రుడు ఉంటాడు, సుధాముడు అని. అక్కడ క్లాస్మేట్ ఉజ్జయినిలో. సుధాముడు, అరే కృష్ణుడు బలరాముడు వస్తున్నారు, వాళ్ళు ఎంత గొప్ప వాళ్ళు, నా మిత్రులు కదా కలుద్దామని అనుకుంటాడు. ఏమన్నా ఇవ్వాలి ఫ్రెండ్కి వచ్చినప్పుడు అనుకొని ఒక చిన్న దండ తయారు చేసి, ఏముండదు ఆయన దగ్గర, ఒక చిన్న దండ తయారు చేసుకొని కృష్ణుడు రాగానే ఎదురుగా వెళ్ళి కృష్ణుడికి ఇస్తాడు. కృష్ణుడు, సుధామా నువ్వేమన్నా కోరుకో. అప్పటికే కృష్ణునికి ఆ పవర్ ఉంటుంది, ఈ క్యాన్ గివ్ ద ఇష్యూ. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో ఏమన్నా కోరుకోమంటే నాకేం కోరికలు లేవంటాడు, బట్ కోరుకో అంటాడు. ఆయన కోరుకుంటాడు, 3 కోరికలు కోరుకుంటాడండి. ఇన్ దిస్ జంక్షన్ ఇఫ్ ఎనీబడి ఆస్క్ us మనం ఏం కోరుకుంటామో వన్ కెన్ ఇమాజిన్ ఎట్ దేర్ లెవెల్. బట్ సుధాముడు ఏం కోరుకుంటాడంటే, నీ పాద కమల సేవయు నీ పాదార్చకులతోడి నెయ్యము నీతాన్ తాపార భూత దయయును తాపసమందార నాకు దయచేయగదే అని 3 కోరికలు కోరుకుంటాడు. ఒకటి ఇండివిజువల్ లెవెల్, నీ పాద కమల సేవ, ఎప్పుడు నేను నీకు డెవోటీగా ఉండాలి, దట్ ఈస్ ఆఫ్ హిస్ సెల్ఫ్. అండ్ ఇమీడియట్ నెక్స్ట్, నీ పాదార్చకులతోడి నెయ్యం, మై ఫ్రెండ్షిప్ షుడ్ బి ఆల్వేస్ విత్ సచ్ పీపుల్ హు ఆర్ ద డివోటీస్ ఆఫ్ గాడ్. God need not be one particular God, but God is some almighty, some super power. అది 2వ కోరిక. తన చుట్టూ ఉన్న పరివారం. 3వ కోరిక, నితాన్ తాపార భూత దయలు, ఐ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ సచ్ కంపాషన్. ఇందాక మన ఉపేంద్ర రెడ్డి గారు చెప్తున్నారు, వన్ మస్ట్ హ్యావ్ కంపాషన్ టువర్డ్స్ టు ఎవ్రీ లివింగ్ క్రియేచర్. అదే అడుగుతాడు, సకల జీవరాశి పట్ల నాకు ప్రేమ, దయ, అనుకంప ఉండేటట్టుగా నాకు వరవీయు అని అడుగుతాడు. నీ పాద కమల సేవయు నీ పాదార్చకులతోడి నెయ్యము నితాన్ తాపారభూత దయయును తాపసమందార నాకు దయచేయగదే. ఇఫ్ వీ డెవలప్ సచ్ ప్యాషన్ అండ్ సచ్ కంపాషన్ టువర్డ్స్ టు every living creature on this earth, if we as the teachers, most of the teachers I think situated here, if we inculcate such thought and idea perception in the minds of young students, definitely solution we can find for this problem of climate change.